Some breaking news out of the NFL this morning. The NFL has learned that more than 20 players are opting out due to growing fears of the coronavirus pandemic. Among them, three-time Super Bowl champion linebacker for the Patriots, Dante Hightower. Safety Patrick Chung and Bears defensive tackle Eddie Goldman are also among the notable. Players opting out are expected to receive over $100,000 in salary. Meanwhile, the NFL season continues to be in limbo due to the coronavirus pandemic, in addition to the Miami Marlins in baseball having more than 14 members being tested positive for the pandemic. For more on this, we welcome you guys to Sports Speaks on YouTube, where we keep it real. I'm Sravan, alongside my partners, Eric Spagnoli from Burlington and Tyler Bronhardt from New Mexico. What's going on, guys?
How's it going, boys?
How's it going, y'all?
Well, as always, we want you guys to hit that subscribe button down below and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. But we begin today with the news that was coming out of the NFL. It seemed to be a version of opt-out day, but the NFL season continues to be in jeopardy, though rookies have signed their contracts, such as Joe Burrow, who inked it today of about $30+ million. Wondering now, will they take the gridiron or they'll be sitting on the couch? Eric, I want to get to you at this point. Hightower is obviously one of the biggest names in the NFL right now, but does it make sense for him to opt out and not play, and for the NFL to possibly shut the season down?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I mean, obviously, all of these opt-outs are a huge hit to the league, and as a result, we likely won't have the season we wanted or expected. But you can't blame the players or call them soft. I can't shake this feeling that all this could have been prevented had the NFL came up with a viable plan and communicated that plan clearly to its players. They had the most time of all sports leagues to devise a solid plan, and we have yet to see one. I understand that the NFL is figuring out this pandemic as everyone else is. This is uncharted territory for all of us. But we saw on Twitter last week all these players, from Russ to Wentz to Richard Sherman to Mahomes, coming out and demanding a clear strategy from the league, and the league has not held up its end of the deal. I mean, these guys want to play. They also have families. They have health issues of their own. They have lives outside of football. And I don't blame them for not wanting to risk their health and the health of their loved ones. So, in conclusion, it's a shame to see players opting out, but I understand the decisions. And I think you really have to look at the entire league and wonder, if the NFL doesn't come up with solutions and fast, will we even have a season this year?
Yeah, I don't think we can blame these guys at all. I don't think they don't deserve to risk their lives for our entertainment. I think Eric kind of hit the nail on the head. The NFL had 6+ months for them to figure this thing out, and the NBA figured it out in less than 3. And I understand the NFL. I mean, there's roughly in total, there's somewhere between 2,500 to 3,000 players, coaches, etc. And that's obviously much more than the NBA. But there had to be, the only thing we've heard is that the fans have to wear masks at the games. And I think for the players, it's the most contact sport out of all 4 major sports, out of any sport, really. I can't think of a more contact sport. And there needs to be something in place. And I think that's what we saw today with all the opt-outs. I think as far as the season being played, I think it's going to depend. I think if you see a player like a Tom Brady or a Patrick Mahomes that opts out, that'll kind of shut the season down. But thus far, we've seen, guys like Hightower, Goldman, still top guys, but not kind of the faces of the NFL, if that makes sense. So we'll see what's going to happen. I know I want football as much as as much as the next guy, but I'm not really sure how this is going to go on. Today is just the beginning.
Just a matter of time at this point, but I just think that right now with the ongoing concerns, and think about it, for those players with young families, we all know Hightower just had a baby. Him and his fiance just had one. Patrick Chung has small children. Marcus Cannon has beaten cancer, but he certainly does not want to risk this kind of move. We all know this is just not a good time to be doing that. Everyone we've seen on social media has been going off on, oh, we want this, we want that, there's no cure. Well, yes, there is no known cure at this point. Doctors are doing whatever they can to bring that forward. But at the end of the day, it's our responsibility as a group to just stay forward and understand that this is not going to last forever if we just do our job. Not to get Patriot way or anything, but we get the idea that this is just not something that, we can take lightly. But Eric, you were saying that if it doesn't happen with football, and Tyler has also mentioned there's supposed to be a plan in place. We saw the NBA do it. We saw NHL do it. And so far, no major cases, although some people have breached the bubble in their own way, but no cases have been discovered. Yes, been extended quarantine periods, but why do you think the NBA looks better in this situation?
Uh, that's something I can't answer. I mean, you really have to be, on the inside of these leagues to really figure out, and don't get me wrong, the NFL, I'm sure, has been working hard and, trying to piece together this situation right now. But at the end of the day, they had 6 months to come up with a plan, and they got none. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it's different because the NBA, they can just put their players in a bubble. And with the NFL, it's a little more complicated with more teams. You'll have teams flying to different places. So maybe it's just the nature of the sport, the nature of the leagues that's different. But, who knows? Maybe the NFL will surprise us in the next few days and actually come up with a solid solution. But right now, I don't see that happening. And if they have to cancel the season over this, I would hate to see it, but I would understand and I would accept it.
Yeah, I think it comes back to two factors. One, the NFL can control, the other, they cannot. I think the first one is there's just so many more people involved than the NBA.
Right.
And additionally, you can really build a court anywhere. It's harder to build like a field. So I understand how the NBA could seclude it to one area. But I think the other one, which is the other factor that they can control, is it comes back to leadership. And I think throughout Goodell's 10 years as the NFL commissioner, there's been a lot of rocky points. And I just think he, maybe like most of us when this first thing started, just thought it was going to go away and it wasn't a big deal. And I think he just kind of squandered that opportunity. And obviously I get it. You don't want to spend money if it turns out that it isn't as serious. But at the same time, these guys are what makes you a multi-billion-dollar company. You have to at least attempt to come up with some sort of plan. And I think finally last week, when Tom Brady called out the Players Association in the NFL on Twitter and kind of spoke his part, I think hopefully that woke them up. But you're right, there's guys, at least half the guys today that opted out had previous health concerns or young family. But honestly, when it comes down to it, it doesn't matter if they have that or not. These guys should not have to risk their lives just for our entertainment. And if you're calling them weak, I'm sorry, but that's silly. I would like to see you attempt to play when you've already made millions of dollars. I mean, these guys, they don't owe us anything. They've already made as much money as one could dream of. It's not like they need this job to survive. So I think it's silly if I see a lot of people today on social media calling these guys weak. And I think that's just not right. I think these guys deserve every amount of respect. So we'll see. I'm hopeful. Obviously we all want the NFL, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It's not the end of the world. We'll move on.
And also, let's not pretend that the NFL's indifference to their players' safety is something new, because they only recently acknowledged that CTE was an issue and only recently took steps to alleviate it. They had the information for years and did nothing about it because it would have impacted their bottom line. So I would expect nothing different from the COVID-19 situation.
It's only a matter of time before this goes out, and at the end of the day, it's our responsibility just to be safe and For all the players who opted out, we wish them nothing but the best with their families, particularly the ones with the young children. They're doing the right thing as not only being parents, but being model citizens. You're showing your kids that you care. And while there are things that are not going to go your way a lot of the times, it's just a matter of doing what's right. Not everybody's going to agree with you, but you have a responsibility to yourself and your health. And there's an old saying, health is wealth. You can have all the money in the world, but if you have no health, and by that I mean not good health, it's just not good at all. Especially in this business, you just have to be careful. And ultimately we'll see what happens. We got the NFL to see what they're gonna do, and then when basketball comes around, we'll see what happens if guys break the bubble once again once the actual games start, and we'll take it from there.